Welcome to Coop's Homestead, Cabin Build, Episode 8, Finishing the Log Seals. Have a little bit of fun backing this thing up, putting the wood chips back in. And like this saw, it puts the sawdust back in the cuts. Well, this is what the looks like to start with. We got all our seals in except for the very last one. Really starts to feel like a cabin when we get to this point. Got the notches on both ends. Got the timber on the forks ready to go down. Just have to be cut to 18 foot 8 inches with a 4-inch joint on each end to fit into there and slam it in there for finished cut. I've been editing a lot of this right here out all the way through, but I will keep a little bit of that in there this time. It's a lot of measuring and figuring and drawing lines and trimming and cutting. I cut that line. I drew my line, and instead of cutting the log off completely, that was enough to make that end of that tape fit into the little groove, so I could measure it out here. Stretch my tape out to 18 foot would go in between my seals. Add 8 inches for the 4 inches on each end of it, and that'll give me 18 foot 8 inches. I was using that little short 8-inch speed square. You can see I can draw the line on my mark pretty easily on that top because it's good and square, and it's good and square there. If you see that wane on the other end of it, I can't put the square on it, so I have to go back to the bottom where it's square again. Just line the mark up, and I can still make my marks, cut it square. I got it squared up on 3 sides. I can make those cuts with my saw and then flip it and make my cut underneath. Since my still using that camera that I finally got away from, it kept shutting off on me, so I couldn't make all the video I would like on that. But you didn't get to see that me cut that one off. Now I'm marking my last and final 4-inch notch. That was my favorite one out of all of them to do. That was the very last one. I was able to use the speed square to make my mark still because I was cutting it with the skill saw or the circular saw. It kept things square and straight. I put my level on top to make sure my bubble, if my bubble was straight on top, then I could use it for marking my line on the side. Checking my bubble, make sure my line was good and level. I can just carry that mark around the end on both ends. Put it on there again. Check my bubble, and it was good right on the bubble, and check it that way too on top. If it's level on top, it'll be level in the middle. And here we go with the chainsaw. Here we go with the circular saw to cut out all the lines. When the circular saw is not cutting but about 2 inches or a little better, 2 inches. You can cut from all different kind of angles and still never get cut all the way through. I was cutting this out with the chainsaw, which probably would have been faster. I'd have still had to take my chisel and mark those lines. This kind of does the same thing, mark the lines. Tried everything. Some places I would mark my lines with the circular saw like this and then take the chainsaw and cut the rest of it. Me and that hand saw just never have figured out how to get along good. Oh, this is my same chainsaw that I was putting the sawdust back in a little while ago. So cut all my lines as far as I can cut with the circular saw, and then pick up that hand saw. And I've watched guys like Mr. Chickadee and different ones with their hand saws that he knows how to sharpen, and like a fine-tuned machine cuts right through all these things. I'm proud of him. But like I said, me and this handsaw thing just hadn't been getting along really good. This evidently is set up for cross-cut sawing. It cut pretty good going down, but trying to rip through there, it just was not wanting to work like I. Didn't take me long to figure out that I don't like this. Maybe I can just knock it off. Hundreds of thousands of people is going to watch me take a drink of my tea. All right, watch this again. One more time.
Yeah.
Now get my slick.
Now you're talking.
Thank you to my son Jason for that fine Christmas present. I did learn to put a new edge on the slick. It's doing pretty good. Now these timbers 8x8, 18 foot 8 inches long. I put a formula up there for the board feet. Length times thickness times the width divided by 12. This comes out to 103.3 board feet. Different measurements from 3 to 6 pounds per board feet. These timbers could weigh over 300 pounds easily when they're wet, and these are pretty wet. Before I roll these things over, clean out where it's going, and I figured out during the process of this, if I put a block of wood in there before I rolled it over, I'd have more chance of maneuvering into the right place. Some of them were wedging and getting stuck. But with that piece of wood in there, when I rolled it over, it would get in the right place. Then I could jack it back up, pull a little block out, and let it right down in there in the right spot. It went down pretty good on this side. It was really tight on the other side. I've watched lots of videos watching people put their timber frame buildings together, and they would use a hammer, big hammer. Most of them were wood. Mine's not wood, so I put a piece of wood in between it so that I didn't scar it up too bad or bust it up. It will bust. Pow! Watch out again. That's cool. One more time. Alright, it's good and flush. I'm satisfied with that end. This end over here is a little bit up, so I'll knock it on down in there a little bit, and hallelujah. So all the seals are in place. I wanted them on 4-foot centers. These two you see right here are not. If you divide 18 foot by 4, you wind up with a couple extra feet in there. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 2 is 18. So what I wound up doing is I picked me out a spot and just put an extra one in there. So those two are actually on 2-foot centers. I can make everything work out with that. It's just more stability. And I put another seal on the very edge next to my full log to so the floor can go there also. So I've got my full log on one end, the full log on the other end, and between them here, I'm calling the seal my half log. So I'm all ready to cut my half dovetail notch right there in that corner, and across on the other corner on the other end. I'll be ready to go, and I could cut me a 20-foot log, my next 20-foot log, and I can start on my second course. That's what's next. Thank you guys for watching Coop's Homestead cabin build. Hey, if the Lord's willing, creek don't rise, we'll keep on until we have ourselves a log cabin built. Thank y'all very much for watching.